Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Comic Book Chronicles. Also realized I might have hit that switch just a second earlier, but that's all right. You won't notice that in post. I am your host, Roddykat. Hey, bars. I am your host, Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter. You can find me at News News Need on Twitter. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram.
With Columbia down the way.
And those sound effects you've heard come from none other than our man in Brooklyn, @1agent_70 on Twitter and Instagram.
What's up, everybody?
For some strange reason, I thought you was going to go with "Hello, Brooklyn."
I could still.
I mean, go for it if you're feeling it.
But I went with Old Reliable.
Yeah, you know, it's always a good one. It's always a good one. Yeah, we are here to end the Comic Book Chronicles. You can find this here, Comic Book Chronicles podcast at the Coast of the Podcast Network, the CSPN.us.
Do it today.
You could also find this podcast on your podcast personal place of choice, whether it be Google Play, Apple iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Coast of the Podcast Network's SoundCloud page. You could also call. I was going to say something else about that, but we'll get to that probably later if I remember it. But you can also find us recording live every Thursday night, most of the times, 9:30-ish p.m. Eastern Standard Time on either the Coast of the Podcast Networks. No. You can also find us on recording live on the Click Nations YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/theclicknation. That's TheKlickNation. Also all one word. Or twitch.tv/Comic Book Chronicles, all one word. It is I am sleepy, folks, and I just woke up. How does that math go out? You'll never know. But we're going to get swiftly into the comic books of the week, starting off with Heroes Reborn number 3.
Heroes Reborn number 3 is written by Jason Aaron, with pencils by both Federico Vicentini and Ed McGuinness, with inks by Mark Morales, colors by Matt Miller and Matthew Wilson, and letters by VC's Corey Pettit. So this is the third installment of the Heroes Reborn limited series Avengers event. I think that's the best way to put it and to name it, because as I was saying to Roddykat just before we started recording, I caught up with Jason Aaron's interview by John Suntress over at the Word Balloon podcast, and how Jason Aaron described this event is basically a bunch of connected one-shots that highlight various members of the Squadron Supreme of America now in this alternate reality where the Avengers never came to be. And so this third issue highlights the Flash, the analogous character. In this case, the character is named Blur.
Right.
And lots of super speed stuff, lots of again connections to one Flash character over at the Distinguished Competition, including riffs on Gorilla Grodd. Did you notice that?
I did see that. I was like, wow, they're really biting Flash real hard on this
one. They're totally making they're totally adapting that. And I got a kick out of seeing that. And we actually also get a connection between this Blur character and I guess a cross-pollination of origins or cross adaptations, because we also get a little bit of Doctor Strange thrown in there.
Yes. Which
And
weirdly, at that point, even before that point, like even when it first started, it kind of weirdly reminded me of like, okay, this is the Flash, as if the Flash was Guy Gardner, but with a little bit of Doctor Strange's origin tied to it, which is weird.
I didn't necessarily see Guy Gardner, but I'm starting to understand that.
Yeah, because of his
I think
attitude.
that's close.
Yeah.
I think that's close. Although I definitely got a kick out of wondering whether or not, Barry Allen, Wally West, or any of the other Flashes ever think along these lines. Like, I don't know how many, like I watch so much TV because I can just absorb it all.
Right.
I got a kick out of that. That was pretty funny.
True. When it got to that point, I was like, okay, I could see it. Like, it was weirdly slightly annoying, but also I could like, you know what, if you had super speed, yeah, that's probably would be how you how you would think, you know. 'Cause, like, you're as fast as, as thought. So therefore it's like, you're kind of you basically got a version of super ADD.
Right.
So it makes total sense.
Right. So as I said earlier, we are 3 issues into this series of one-shots that number 7 in total, because the 8th issue of this event is Heroes Return. So
And
we still have, what's that?
I was about to say, and we still don't know how this quote unquote started.
You know what I was going to say is that leads us into our backup story, or our secondary story in this book, which focuses on what happened to the new host of the Phoenix Force, that is Echo, Maya Lopez, and we see where she is in the Squadron Supreme of America reality, and what she's thinking, and now what to what extent the Avengers have started to reassemble in this reality. And it's kind of fun to see that, of course it does all start with Cap, but the catalyst of it, is of course Blade. We all know that from the first issue,
right?
But now they're slowly starting to reassemble. And one thing that I know Roddykat picked up on is something that Maya Lopez was thinking to herself, which is whether or not the power that she wields is responsible for everything that has happened.
Right. Yeah, because she even has a little bourbon on thought, in her thoughts, that said like she doesn't even know how she got. She doesn't even know what happened, which is pretty much a nod to like, yeah, neither do the audience, and not wanting to give away apparently whatever the catalyst may be, wherever it shows up. More likely the Avengers, where it all starts. It's just still weird though, the fact that it almost in like a future state type fashion, like, okay, we're getting the story, but now in certain books we're getting what the catalyst was for it, well after the fact, or it will be well after the fact, I guess, by the time it happens, we assumably.
Right. We're definitely getting the uncovering of the mystery, as opposed to seeing something happen and then dealing with the after effects.
Right.
So I'm actually having fun with this.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying some of the examinations of these Squadron characters.
Right. And if anybody has been reading the Avengers for any length of time, specifically with this volume, folks, and we've said this before, that Jason Aaron has a whole bunch of seeds that he's been wanting to, that he's pretty much either dealt with already or is still dealing with. And this whole Squadron Supreme thing is something that he's pretty much had, since he's gotten a volume. Because like I said, a lot of stuff has kind of been telegraphed by that stuff. The Moonlight stuff he's already taken care of. We don't know what's going to happen with the Mephisto stuff. I think there's still some 1 million BC stuff that's probably still on. The only thing that would ruin this is they tie this into the 1 million BC stuff, which I very much doubt they'll do. But I'm just saying.
I think it's all connected. I think the Mephisto and the 1 million BC stuff is actually connected.
Oh, that
So
definitely is
I think,
true.
right. So I think all of that might tie together into what happened here. So
Mhm.
we'll see. I'm looking for. Honestly, I am not. I maybe I needed to hear it from Jason Aaron as to what the layout of this series is going to be, how
Mhm.
these are basically interconnected one shots with that backup story kind of tying together how the Avengers are starting to put things together and to hopefully restore the reality that we know.
Right.
So knowing, I guess now when I listened to it, I was 2 issues in. Now I'm 3 issues in, and I think it serves to reassure me
Okay.
of how this series is going to go. Was that to get more comfortable with, all right, these one shots are interrelated. We're getting this a character study of this new version of the Squadron Supreme.
Gotcha. Right, because and the reason why I brought up the whole Jason Aaron thing and what he was trying to do with Avengers was because the fact that it's come up now, and for some reason we were thinking, or at least I was thinking, that it was going to be something just in the main book that like they're going to be dealing with this Squadron Supreme, and that still could hold true.
Right.
In fact, still could very well be the catalyst, that we think that this new iteration of Heroes Reborn is. Uh, but we're just getting this out of the way before that happens, and then it's like, well, here you go, it'll be all out of the way, and then who knows what's going to happen after that, honestly. So, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of an interesting read. Like I said, and there wasn't any other side books this week, were there? I don't think I remember seeing anything. Like there are no tie-in books.
I think there was supposed to be one, which PCN underscore dirt
Oh, that's what he was talking about.
mentioned.
Right.
And I guess it's just a week late because it is solicited now for next week.
Hmm.
So this week I'm just going to double check with comic list.
Yeah, I didn't see anything else.
Because I did not, because I only pulled of the Heroes Reborn tie-in one shots. I personally pulled the Peter Parker Shutterbug, which came out last week.
Right.
And I don't know. The only book that came out this week was the main miniseries. So next week is, I think, a bunch of the tie-in one shots.
Mm. Oh yeah, that was also that one Hyperion book from last week too, but I don't think either one of us read that.
Right. The Hyperion book did come out last week. Let me just pull up next week's books and scrolling. Get them, doggy, scrolling. All right. I definitely know that Magneto book is out next week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Heroes Reborn Magneto and the Mutant Force #1 is out next week. Heroes Reborn Siege Society's out next week, #1. Heroes Reborn Young Squadron #1 is out next week. So that's 3 tie-ins.
Okay.
In addition to the regular Heroes Reborn miniseries book that are out next week.
Well, I guess we can be thankful for the fact that it's all coming out swiftly, I guess.
Yeah. It's all over the course of 2 months.
Right.
And it's in place of the Avengers book and some of the member Avengers solo books. Like, I don't think Iron Man is out this month because of Heroes Reborn. And I think Cap is just wrapping up because Coates is wrapping up his run.
Right. It's still kind of weird though, because it's like, okay, there's no.
And I think Thor is also on a break too this month.
Who? Which one? Oh,
Thor.
Yeah.
I think.
Right. Yeah, like I said, it's still like what we're used to is like when the Heroes Reborn happened, and we've said this before, it originally happened. The same thing pretty much happened, except for the line myself. Well, the books that pretty much were which was, I guess, most of the line at the time, now that I think about it, were just gone. But it was after the catalyst had happened, then
which was Onslaught,
right, which was Onslaught, and then it went on into these new books.
Onslaught.
Oh, what happened?
I said, speaking of Onslaught.
Oh dear, wait, where was Onslaught?
Oh no! Did I just spoil something, man? I did not see what you read. Okay.
Wait, what did you read that brought up on slide? And now I'm scared.
Well,
That's fine.
anyway,
Yeah, that's fine.
that's
Well,
a spoiler alert, folks. I did not mean to do that.
All right, that's fine because I don't know if I would have read it even if I had known.
Right. Oh, but in
but-
any event, I guess we can move on to the next book if there's nothing else to discuss
Right, the
on
only thing-
Heroes
yeah.
Reborn number 3.
The only thing I was gonna say was like because of the way that it initially happened, I guess I still kind of had an expectation that it was going to be something like that, which obviously it is not because, like I said, the way we get in this is a little different.
Yes, much more of a mystery than event that's the catalyst, and then we see the after effects. So
right. So it's just like I'm curious of the decision behind that. I guess
it's a remix.
I suppose. But regardless,
It's a spelling choice.
Yeah, I guess. But I don't know. Like I said, the same with Future State, because like I said, we're getting Future State books that are pretty much before Future State, but Future State has already happened. So it's like, why? What's the point now? But anyway, we're going to move on to the next book, which is new number 1 for the week, Shang-Chi number 1.
Yes, it's written by Jean Luen Yang with art by D.K. Ruan, colors by Triona Farrell, and letters by VC's Travis Lanham. Take it away.
So I enjoyed this book. Just to go ahead and get that part out of the way. So this takes place after the last mini series, which is not that far from being out. In fact, it was only about a month ago, I believe.
2 months ago.
Was it a couple
2
months
ago? Last month 2 months ago, I think. Last month was a one shot.
Right. But regardless, there we go. So Shang-Chi is in his new position as the lead of the 5 Weapon Society, which still reminds me of a book from another company of that same name, that has nothing to do with him, which was also a good read, by the way, but just beside the point. And he and his sister Dagger are kind of out on a mission, and of course they run into your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And Shang-Chi is like, shush on the Supreme Commander stuff. Shush. Trying to keep that on the wraps because he doesn't want his superhero friends to know, that he's got a new job that he's kind of embarrassed to have. But
Right.
So while the cover, I got this. The covers are going to be probably kind of misleading unless something actually ends up happening. I will say that. But the cover to this issue, if you're watching the video, you can see it. Slightly misleading.
The main cover, right? That's the main cover,
right?
By Lionel Yu. I actually picked up this week. I got the Michael Cho variant.
Oh, nice.
Which is cool.
Hang on,
and what it does, what the Michael Cho cover does is obviously highlight the guest star in this issue, which is Spider-Man.
Put that back up. There we go. So people can get a good close-up look of it. Yeah, that looks good. I like that.
It is. It's nice.
Yeah. But all right, cool. But yeah, so yeah, they run into Spider-Man and Shang-Chi's like, hey, Ixnay the Supreme.
Yeah, Ixnay on the Amander K.
Exactly.
Eve, I Fay, Eppin's way, society say. If we're gonna take the Pig Latin all the way, right?
Exactly. So of course, this is. I don't want to say the obligatory Spidey is cameo, but hey, every now and then it still happens with certain books. Let's face it. And also totally made me forget about the Spider Island happened and that they did interact previously to now outside of.
Do you know what year that was?
Huh?
Do you know what year that was? I had to look. I wanted to look. Like, I know that I have that issue. It was a free comic book day issue. I know I have it in my collection. I did not want to go down to the archives in my collection and pull it out. I pulled it up on Marvel Unlimited. You know what year it said it was?
2011.
Correct.
Mm.
Holy crap, that was 10 years ago. Feels like yesterday.
Because I knew it was around Spider-Verse and stuff like that, but I knew it was like no Spider-Man happened, I think, before that. So it was like, and I remember 2011 was kind of a thing. I had actually didn't even read it. I still hadn't read Spider-Man, but I do remember it being brought up, that their interaction got brought up at some point.
Unreal. 10 years ago. My
Mhm.
goodness.
So I guess it kind of makes sense if that was plotted to have happened, you know? Like, hey,
Right.
she's got a new book. It's 10 years from the last time they I guess may or may not have interacted with each other.
Well, my guess is that they probably interacted when they were both on like active Avengers.
I thought about that too, but I don't know. I don't know.
Oh no, like I was saying, may have.
Right.
You know,
I mean,
I'm
it's possible.
using that. I'm just throwing that out there as when, you know, like the Avengers roster was expanded to such an extent.
Right. To
But
Avengers World, but I don't
I have
remember
a
Spider-Man
feeling.
being
I
around
have
that
a
one.
feeling that no, I have a feeling that when the Avengers roster expanded, I think Otto was in charge of the body. I think it was during Superior Spider-Man, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think Spider-Man was on the roster when Shang-Chi was on at that particular. Well, let me phrase that in the beginning, because you remember, because the Hickman run, that's when Shang-Chi kind of came through in
Right.
But Spider-Man wasn't around then. On the
No, Spidey. It was Otto,
Was
because there's images of the Superior Spider-Man costume.
But I thought that was later.
What's that?
I thought that was later though.
I think it was. I think the whole training for Spider Island is before Otto taking over.
Right.
And I think that, and then the Avengers stuff is happening right around that same time.
So that's when Avengers World
He's
was?
on Avengers, but I think when they would have interacted, you know, during the height of the Hickman mumbo jumbo and the expanding of the rosters, I think it was Superior. I'm pretty sure.
It's, you know, it's all a blur. At this point, I'm thinking differently, but it is. I'm sure we'll find out when we can go back into the colors and find out for
Archives, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we will consult our handy dandy Marvel Unlimited, because nobody's trying to dig into their back issues just yet.
Not right now, but until then, yeah. So basically, the you know, the team up, you know, like I said, the you know, there was the recollection of Spider Island, and then there was you know, like I said, Shang-Chi trying to kind of keep things hush hush while trying to get Spider-Man away from the scene, even though they have coincidentally intertwining cases that they were working on that just so happened to be pretty much the catalyst that that ends up where Spidey finds out that spoiler alert, you know, Shang-Chi is now head of the Five Weapons Society, which apparently he knew about, which from his that thing. So here's my thought. My only thought about this is like, listen, I enjoyed it, and this thing is really giving me shades of Armor Wars. Because of revelation that I won't spoil in here. But yeah, it just kind of feels like, hey, Shang-Chi's going on his own Armor Wars in a way. Now, where it puts him with the rest of the Marvel Universe, I guess we'll find out. Like I said, this book, they're setting up this book as if he's going up against, you know, the universe. But we can pretty much see that, yeah, he is definitely going to start interacting with folks at large. I got a strange feeling there will be an intervention of some sort at times, because if we know anything about something like this that happens, you know, people like Spidey, and we see Cap is gonna be in the next issue, and probably whoever else comes up in the next 2 issues, probably gonna get together and be like, hey, something's going on with Shang-Chi, and then there's gonna be a confrontation, you know.
Right, that's what this appears to be developing towards, because, you know, much like Michael Corleone wasn't fully able to, he probably won't be fully able to reform the criminal organization.
Right.
So,
and he doesn't necessarily, you know, it doesn't seem like he wants to do it for that reason. You know, he's trying to make it into something, according to what he's saying, trying to make it into something different.
Right.
So we will see.
Well, I'm not to make, you know, references to Godfather 3, because I try to remember that doesn't exist.
Right.
So, but yeah, you know what I mean. So, but yeah, that's essentially, that's essentially what, that's essentially what Shang-Chi's doing, just trying to reform the Five Weapon Society, in turn Zheng Zhu, aka old school Fu Manchu, that organization, trying to turn it into something positive.
Right. So will it be the Hand, or will it be another AIM? Is it Uchiwale or One Mike? I don't know. But we will
We'll
find
see.
out. Yes.
We'll see. But yeah, no, it's off to a good start.
Yeah, for
It's a
real.
potential click of the week for me. So
Yeah, same here. Same here. So that being the case, we can push on to something else.
Wheel of Comic Books, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the comic that we should review.
Okay. The Trials of Ultraman, number 3. So that is my book. Oops. I'll keep that right there for a second. And yeah, and zoop. So Trials of Ultraman, number 3. Written by Kyle Higgins and Matt Groom. Art by Francesco Mana. While I pull up the card, there we go. Color artist Espen Gridingen. My apologies for messing that your name up. And lettering by VC's Ariana Mayer, which I just realized that I don't think DC puts the VC put the VC part on some of those, because I've noticed that. I'm like, I know Clayton Cowles is also a part of VC.
They might be doing this freelance as opposed to being part of Visual Comic Craft.
That could also be the case,
because I think Visual Comic Craft may have a contract with Marvel,
which would make sense, right? And that's why I was like, it's like I noticed that on a DC book that I read this week, and I was like, huh, maybe that was the case, like you say. So anyway, after the events of last issue, Shin and Ultraman was still in Ultraman form, and they were pretty much getting rid of the decidedly mecha kaiju that's not necessarily Godzilla, but kind of sorta, that somebody apparently made, which turns this story with this particular issue into or at least in part, Godzilla versus Kong, because after that happens and they rescue Dan Morobashi, who was a former Ultraman, they try to question him to see where he's been the last 56 years, which means he is now this world's version of Captain America, or not Captain America, but Steve Rogers, because he apparently doesn't have his Ultraman powers and no memories of actually even having them. So they try to interrogate this, not interrogate, but to try to question him on it. And he's like, look, I haven't been around for 56 years, and this new USP, is supposed to be a kinder, gentler one, and you expect me to just trust, which doesn't happen. He wants to talk to Ultraman for some odd reason. Maybe that's going to happen, but doesn't happen in this episode until they push off and try to figure out who was the person or persons responsible for the mecha kaiju that attacked last issue, and which all roads lead to another former USP member who is some sort of tech billionaire. So they go to question him, and then they come to find out that there's a conspiracy theorist person that they're watching, which this is where the shades of Godzilla v. Kong come in, because they're like, oh yeah, we got this dude on watch, so he might know something about these creations that happen, including this one new video from this person that that may have some that hasn't been put out yet that may have something to do with what's going on. So yeah, this is pretty much where that's going, and this is the third book of 5, I believe. So this is kind of turning the corner. I don't know what the extent of these Ultraman miniseries are. I do know there's probably, I think there's supposed to be another one after this one ends. As a part of a trilogy, which I don't know why they couldn't have just made it into an ongoing. But hey, go figure. Or maybe they will after this. We don't know. They got the license. They might as well do something with it. But for now, we just got these couple of miniseries, and I guess we'll see what happens from there. Next up,
Wheel of Comic Books, turn. Tell us the comic that we should review.
H7 is loving this. Oh, okay. Champions number 7.
I was about to say, thankfully we both read this, although it would be great if we could get Rob Paulson to say it in Yakko's voice. Wheel of Comic Books, turn, right? We should reach out to him.
Indeed, yeah. Hey, doesn't hurt but a shot, right?
Exactly.
So we got
Champions number. Oh, you want to read the credits? Go ahead.
Sure, I'll do it. Oh wait, do I have it? No, I don't. You have it though.
All right, I'll take care of it. It's written by Danny Lore with art by Luciano Vecchio, colors by Federico Blee, and letters by VC's Clayton Cowles. You can start the review while I open up my comic book.
Ping, ping, ping. All right, so yes, after last issue, the crew decides that they are going to well, first they were going to stop and play mobile games in their costumes out in the open for some strange reason. And I'm sitting here like, why are they doing this out here? Like, is it why are they doing this out here like that? But regardless, that little part was kind of funny to me. But not until Snowguard comes along and kind of wants to have words with Nova, because apparently she found out that he is going for an internship at Roxxon, which is the group's plan of action to get rid of Roxxon, is to infiltrate and specifically with the intents of taking down the social media app that Roxxon has built, that apparently has a lot of bugs and holes in it that Riri and I think Viv have come across. So they get the idea to infiltrate Roxxon, and the only people who could do it is Miles and Sam. Now here's the thing that kind of caught me on this one. Now I get it. This was a convenient way for them to be like, hey, here's the plot of what's going on, so they can take a few pages to do this. You would think they would have told Snowguard, who's been doing her own protest against Roxxon, on the other side of this, and the two kind of comes into play later on in this issue. But you would think that she being a part of the Champions, they would have let her in on this little plot of theirs, as opposed to her.
And I wonder, right? And sorry, I picked up on that also, and I wonder if they haven't pared down the active roster of the Champions without really telling us.
I think they did, actually.
And basically, I mean, they haven't made it explicit, like right. They, like we haven't seen it kind of Avengers style, like I'm stepping off the active roster. Right. So it's not as official as we maybe are used to with some of the other team books.
Right.
But it seems as though there is a central cast of champions, at least at this point.
Right.
I think it consists of the on the run champions and not any of the champions that were put into the Cradle re-education centers.
Pretty much it's the core group. Yeah, the core original group. Yeah.
Right, but it's definitely none of the ones who were put into the re-education centers. So.
Correct, and they're still around. Like I said, Snowguard shows up, but yeah, they're just
and Bombshell, right? Snowguard, Bombshell, and the younger Falcon.
Right. Yeah, they're still around. They're just not, as you say, actively on the team for whatever other reason, or it doesn't seem to be. But yeah, that was a kind of a weird thing. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, we kind of, I guess there's a reason for that, whether we get into it or not. But either way, like, you would still think that they would have at the very least, like, hey, this, if you see or hear about some shit, this is what's going on type situation, because like I said, Snow Guard's been out here actively protesting Roxxon just out publicly. So
Right.
so for her
Right.
to
I
find
guess
this
maybe
out,
they don't have the same level of communications as a result of the whole Viv, kind of working to a certain extent against them for a while. So
maybe we don't know, and we may not ever get those answers, honestly. So
right. Well, but one thing is that there is a change in writer. I think this
yes.
is Danny Lore's first full-time book, or was it the last issue?
Last issue.
I think the credit may not have reflected it, to be honest.
Because Eve Ewing came off the book at 5, and I think she came on at 6. Or, well, wait, it was either 5 and she came on at she had a little like a little backup page at the end of.
That's right. Yeah, they had a little backup page at the end of 6. That's why the credits didn't match.
Exactly.
So that's so in a sense, it can sort of it's more understandable in that sense, that there is a little bit of a break in the creative team, so we don't necessarily see. But I think it's safe to say that the on the run group of champions is essentially the core team. The way Roddykat put it. So and they're generally the ones that we recognize as the core team also.
Right.
So but yeah, for whatever reason, the other kind of extended family champions are not on the group text. So that's
right. And we don't have corner boxes like we used to back in the day. So
what's that?
I said we don't have corner boxes like we do, like we used to do back in the day.
Exactly. So, but in all seriousness, yeah, apparently the group text has been whittled down, and these other champions are not necessarily in the decision-making loop. So, it did seem a little weird, but I started to get the gist of it. But I'll tell you that I thought that this issue was very well written. I thought a lot of the dialogue was very snappy. I thought a lot of the comedy was well timed.
Yeah.
And I thought the art also meshed well with the direction, other than Roddykat picking up on the fact that they're playing a mobile game out in the open on a playground by themselves in costume.
Exactly. Because it was
when Cradle is supposed to be not actively looking for them, but there's still the Kamala's law that's in effect. So if I recall correctly, they didn't tie a bow on it, but they said that Dum Dum was not actively looking for them anymore.
Correct. And there was there some question whether the law was going to stay in effect, or or what time it was going to supposedly be coming off the books.
Right. So ultimately what we have here is Roxxon, of course, trying to agitate things covertly, and the champions get wind of it and they try to put a stop to it. And there are some super-powered people that Roxxon is employing to assist with that. But ultimately what ends up happening is that the champions do take care of the covert riot that Roxxon was trying to start at the protest, and we end up getting in a roundabout way, a very roundabout way, what seems to be a successful infiltration of Roxxon by 2 members of the champions, and possibly a third.
Well, one definitely the second one is trying to get in by because I don't know. Wait, who is the third one? Because we know at the end so there was two
infiltration. Right, the infiltration of the third is the condition for the second one.
Well, okay, yeah. If you take it that way, yes, you're right. Although that was pretty much a surprise to that particular character.
The third one, exactly.
Yes.
To the third one. And forgive us, folks, for speaking in such roundabout ways. We are trying not to spoil everything for you.
Right. Now, I will say that the going back to the protest situation, some would argue that that is ripped out of some possible real world tactics.
Of course,
because folks have heard that instigators may have been inserted at certain times in history to kind of rouse up things for whatever odd reason, and this has just happened to be one of the times where that did not work out because the champions got wind of it before before any damage happened, but
absolutely.
So
ripped from the headline.
Pretty much. I also find it funny that Kamala thinks Cap and Thor and the rest of the Avengers are millennials.
Well, I think specifically those two are the examples that they bring up.
No, there are, but I'm sitting here thinking like the only one on the Avengers roster who is actually a millennial, who probably could be on the Champions, is a Ghost Rider.
Right.
So I find it funny.
I just got a kick out of the fact that the two examples that they took are the ones who are expressly not.
Right, like the two oldest members of the team.
Pretty much.
I'm sitting like, how do you even especially as much of a fangirl, superhero fangirl as Kamala is? I'm like, I don't know how you would make that mistake, but she's like, you know what? Don't worry about it. Just, my point is,
yes, exactly. Just go with me here. Right. That's really what she's saying.
Right.
So, but yeah, I definitely I got a kick out of that because the long-lived, not immortal, but definitely long-lived demigod and the man out of time are definitely not millennials.
Yeah, no.
All right. But yeah, this is actually a potential click of the week candidate for me. I really enjoyed how well written this book was, and Vecchio's art. It's influenced by some of the newer cartoony style. I hesitate to say anime and manga, but there's some there.
I would
it's
do
definitely
that.
a cartoony style, but it is appealing.
Because there is let me see. The closest analogs that I would say for anybody now would probably be something off the Cartoon Network type stuff, and I'm not necessarily like Gumball, but there's one in particular that the art style definitely maybe almost kind of a Steven Universe in shades, but definitely with a tinge of anime in it.
Right.
A noticeable tinge of anime in it, because that's what I thought too. I was like, yeah, this is definitely a different style. It's real clean, it's real good looking, but it's like but you with the eyes it kind of messes you up for a second. It was like, yeah, this is definitely a different style. Which, you know what, like I said, like it just said, kind of lends itself to this book, Nary. Yeah,
right. To make it more youthful looking.
Right. So it's not bad. It's just like, if you see the old art and you see up against this, and it's like, that's a matter of fact, even in issue 6 at the end, it's like, that's a stark difference.
Right. Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
That being the case, we can go on to I didn't put this book down in the thing, but we can go on to another book.
Wheel of Comic Books. Turn.
Think. Oh shit. Nope. Do over.
Repeat.
Yeah. Matter of fact, let me take that one off the board too. So. Oh crap.
What did you spin it like a Wheel of Fortune? Didn't go all the way around?
No. I was trying to take off one of the choices. We had just talked about champion, so I forgot to take that off while it was spinning. So I took it off and I had to do the thing. The next Batman, Second Son, number 12. I don't know why I put that much emphasis on the that, but that's fine. So this is written by John Ridley. That's John Ridley. I don't know how many more times I'm going to say that. Which we got some news about that dude coming up in the news.
Yes, we do.
Written by John Ridley, pencils by Travel Foreman, inks by Norm Rapmund, colors by Rex Locust, and letters by Darren Bennett. That's supposed to be Rapmund, which is a good rap name, by the way. So Jace, basically the short story is this, because it's not going to take me all long to mention this, but this is a digital first book. There's, I assume at some point it's going to go physical, which I don't think I've seen any copies of that being the case yet, but it's out there right now. Jace basically finds out his dad's connection to the Bat family. That's the crux of it. Like, there's a couple of little things that happen in it, like, Tiffany Fox, the youngest Fox, kind of chastises Luke for chastising Jace for not doing it, or for the fact that he got stabbed last issue, but obviously the family don't know what he's getting into now. But Tiffany kind of chastises Luke for not doing anything to help their sister, but sitting here being all high and mighty to their brother, who apparently Jace is the oldest brother, and Luke is the younger brother, which I did not know that, because Luke kind of comes off as the older brother.
I thought it was the other way around, but okay.
I did too. Yeah, I did too. But something last issue said pretty much said that. I'm like, huh, that's weird. Like I said, I also thought that Luke was the oldest up until that revelation. So, but nevertheless, that which all of that's being said, that Tiffany kind of chastises Luke and was like, tells her mom, like, no, we got to do this ourselves. So apparently she goes on a training montage. Luke kind of goes off and caresses his bat suit, because he at this time he's still bat winged, but also he's sitting there feeling sorry for himself. And then Jace is snooping around Fox Tech, and he ends up finding out, like I said, his dad's connection to the Bat family, and finds a bat suit in the end. Doesn't put it on yet, and I don't think it's the one he's going to end up with, because it looks like the armored Batman suit from Bat 3 Suits, or Dark Knight, or et cetera, the one, the big bulky one. And that's where this issue ends. So whatever is going to happen from here on, we don't know. I mean, this is the ongoing, so I don't think this is like over. But it sure kind of ended in a way that could have suggested, like, well, here you go, Future State. You already know what happens in Future State. You can draw the blank. You can draw the parallels between what happens in Future State and coming from here now. And yeah, you can, because I think there was also another conversation. If I'm not mistaken, there was another conversation with, speaking of Lucius Fox, to, I think that was the mayor or somebody, about the use of Fox Tech. And of course, if you've read Future State, you kind of get a sense of where that goes. Also, like I said, all of this is pretty much in service of catching us up with the beginnings of Future State. Whether this is going to continue on like it is going into Future State, which we kind of already know of, or kind of skips some time to sometime afterwards. We don't know. But I've been enjoying it so far. So I mean, there's a couple of issues been kind of a little slow, but also because these are digital first ones, it pretty much takes 2 of these to make one actual issue of a physical book. So you kind of take that for what it is. And that's that. Do we want to go into rapid fire? Because I don't have.
Yes, we can go rapid fire.
Yeah, because I don't have that many more books left. Anywho, but just out of curiosity, what would have been the next book? The same book I just that I just did. Got it. So we're gonna push on to.
Job.
Yes, I know, right? For me not taking the damn thing off the thing. So we're gonna go into rapid fire.
Because we ain't got time to bleed. All right. You want to wrap up your books?
Sure, why not? But do I have that? 1, 2. I only got 2 books left. Yeah, I bet. I know you read this one, Amazing Spider-Man number 66.
Yes.
Let's see. Oh, let me go up here, and because I don't know, for some reason I didn't get the creative team for this one. Written by Nick Spencer, penciled by Mark Bagley, inks by John Dell, colors by Brian Reber, and lettering by VC's Joe Caramagna. Caramagna.
Caramagna.
I'm not trying to butcher this man's name, but every time I see his name, I'm like, that's a dope name. So basically, from what this issue is apparently trying to say, we're back to the Kindred thing now, as opposed to that whole arc that just got finished and swept with the giant size from last week, which I did read before this.
Right.
So yeah, they kind of tied that up nice, neat into the bow, and so things have changed since that giant size issue. They pretty much reset Peter and Spidey in a ways, because he's back in the old suit. Apparently he was double crossed. Spoiler alert for that giant size Spider-Man. That his whole friendship with Boomerang was kind of based off of a lie, which I don't know how I feel about that. Like that was actually slightly well done, but also, like, I mean, they could have just kept it that way, you know. But I understand this is comics, and you gotta flip it up. So apparently,
what I was gonna say is, it's not a complete reversal,
right? Well, okay,
on the part of Boomerang,
true.
Because I think that's what's implied,
right?
Is that, you know, while you know, it is definitely a betrayal of Peter and Spider-Man's trust, there is a hint that the change in alliance, the change in allegiance, or the change in what's the D&D? Oh my gosh, the change in
Faction, alliance, alignment.
Oh no, alignment. Yes, the change in alignment, isn't it? Character alignment.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Whether he's evil,
yeah,
chaotic evil, or
exactly. So the change of Boomerang's character alignment may not be completely undone. You know, we may end up, you know, instead of being you know, not that he was ever really evil, but he's definitely more towards neutral-ish. You know, maybe chaotic.
Sure. I could definitely see Boomerang as an agent of chaos. So, but that being said, yeah. But the resetting is what I'm talking about. Like, he's back in the old suit.
Right.
He doesn't have neither one of his roommates anymore, because Randy is moving out with Beetle, and
Right.
of course, you know, Boomerang did a reverse heel turn. I don't know what you would call that. Like, he didn't necessarily go real full heel turn, but he was just like, no, this whole thing was kind of a lie, but you could also see in the end of it that's like, nah, some of it kind of stuck with him. Like, he kind of feels like, it seems like he kind of feel bad for that, you know, when we see him later on in the issue. And Peter doesn't have a place to live because of the events that happened recently. But Feast is getting fixed up, so that's fine. Because even Peter noticed, like, yeah, maybe I should have saved some money to get that wall fixed. Also, it was kind of weird and funny, but interesting that the new Avengers / Defenders happened to show up in the giant size, and they're still here. They were still here during the course of this issue.
Right, to kind of wrap, you know, put a little bow on that interaction.
So we're finally, and the only other thing that we get is that should we, I guess, it's now that it's already out of the bag, should we kind of reveal what happened? And I mean, you didn't necessarily talk about it in, we talked about it in Brian Stroke's last issue.
Right. I mean, we'll
episode.
still warn everyone. Spoiler alert. Go ahead.
So, spoiler alert. So this is pretty much the aftermath of, like I said, the giant stuff. So that stuff already said, and the part of the aftermath being that the Kingpin brought back somebody from the dead. Not unlike in a Dragon Ball like fashion. But it wasn't who you thought it would be. It was his son, aka the Rose, which is causes a little bit more problems in Spidey's life. The Rose has been dead for some decades now, or at least in real time anyway. So the fact that he's back is going to be some problems. And also Kindred gets saved by Norman, or at least who we think is Norman. And we get a reveal at the end of the wait, was that the main story that reveal was in the backup, or was that the backup? No, that was the main book. It was, so there was a real reveal at the end of the main story of let's just say another person that we thought was in a place but is not. That may or may not be a place.
Right. Well, the way we see the way I read this reveal is definitely Kindred related.
Yes, that is true.
And I don't think it's Norman.
No, that looks more like Harry.
Exactly. I didn't want to spoil the whole thing, but yeah, spoiler alert.
Right. But supposedly Kindred is Harry. So dun dun dun. Right. But we don't know. This could be a big spoiler.
Or at least part of Harry, right? At least part of Harry.
Right.
But we do get a cool reveal. That was definitely a shock. One longtime Spidey supporting character coming back and sporting a different look. Let's put it that way.
Yes. That being the case. And then we get a backup story.
No backup story. Where's the backup story?
Wait, or was that giant? Oh, that was in Giant Size. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm looking around. I'm literally flipping through the book. Like, what is he talking about?
No, because I've read Giant Size and this back to back. So
got it.
So yeah, I'm thinking about that backup. But there was a backup that is also kind of basically, hey, let us get back to this part of this whole thing that seemingly was kind of, hey, it got brought up, but then no one brought it up again because we went into this whole other arc, which I'm still not sure what that arc was supposed to be for. That last arc that we just got out of with the new suit and whatnot. Like outside
I think it was to move. I obviously had to deal with Randy and
Beetle,
Janice Lincoln.
Sure.
It's as you said, it resets Peter Parker's status quo.
Right.
It resets his status as a dude with no roommates.
But it feels so unnecessary.
It resets him in the old costume.
Right. Right.
So
yeah, they were just like, I think we might have said this off air, but it was like, yeah, they pretty much did that Giant Size so they could just clean all that up, not to belabor that whole thing any longer than it already had, and just to kind of put things back. There we go. Put things back in the box, and get us back on track. But yeah, we've been talking about this too long. So, but yeah, we do get. I was right. The whole Robbie and Tombstone truce did happen though in this issue. No, wait. The Carly thing. Wait, are you sure that wasn't in the back of this?
Yeah, but it's not a backup story. It's just at the end of the book.
Oh, I thought that because it felt like it was presented as a backup story. Because the book had the reveal, and then it kind of like, then like an ad or something in the page or whatever, and then it kind of went into this. So I assumed it was a backup with the Mary Jane, or maybe like an end credit scene or something. I don't know. Regardless, that did happen.
It was definitely like a transition to like an end credit. It was just a reveal of what was going on with this particular character.
Right, and John's back into his old tricks. What it sounds like. So anyway, that was that, and my last book, real quickly, is Wonder Girl #1. Make sure that's not Wonder Girl #1. So written and art by Joelle Jones, colors by Jordi Belair, letters by Clayton Cowles, which was the thing I was talking about earlier. With the VC and the lettering thing. Anyway, so the short stories here is that we see Lara Flor, who we haven't seen since Future State. She's coming off of she's on a plane. She's come back to Brazil. She's talking some poor old lady's ear off. But then we get some godly and demigodly appearances like Nubia and some other folks. I don't know if Nubia is the queen of Themyscira now, because this is supposed to be set like current now. So where is Hippolyta? I'm curious about. Maybe that's something for the Wonder Woman book. I don't know. But regardless, we see a bunch of people that kind of, the way it's set up, it feels like they are noticing her as a thing, and they are preparing to do something about that. Or they could be something else, and it just so happened to coincide with the fact that she's coming back to Brazil. But the main part of it is like while she's going through what she's going through is she's on this tour of Brazil, which she apparently hasn't been to in quite a while. We get some flashbacks of something from her youth, and along with these other flashes of other people that are noticing something's amiss. And Yara even says that she feels like she has the eyes of the world behind her, and you see a flash of a bunch of like super folks, including Batman, Superman, and a whole bunch of other people surrounding her, as if to say that, hey, there's going to be some attention on her for some reason. But in the end, she ends up taking a dip with her, for some strange reason, with the weapon that we know she's going to get. And that's where the book ends. Some gorgeous art in here. You should definitely check it out if you've checked out Future State and this new Wonder Woman is Wonder Girl at this point, but the next Wonder Woman. You may want to check this out. Like I said, the art is great. The story is what it is, because it's definitely a setup for what's going to be happening in this book. And like I said, it has only just begun. And that is it for me.
Alrighty. So let me run through my books as quickly as possible. First up is Captain America #29, written by Ta-Nehisi Coates, with art by Leonard Kirk, colors by Matt Milla, and letters by VC's Joe Caramagna. So Ta-Nehisi Coates' run is quickly coming to a close, but we're starting to see things, some story lines and plot threads that he has been developing start to wrap. We have the events of last issue dovetailing into this issue, with the Daughters of Liberty looking to counterattack against the Red Skull and his daughter Cynthia and Alexa Lukin, and some moves and counter moves happening, and something pops up at the very end of this issue, which is surprising, but also a callback to a villain that had reappeared recently, but I was surprised to see it happen anyway. I definitely give Coates credit for calling upon lots of Cap lore and weaving it into a new story. I happen to be a fan of his run on this. I think the art has no offense to Leonard Kirk, but I definitely don't think it was sufficient, to really carry the story. That's just my opinion. But I really didn't mind Coates' take on this. I can definitely tell what eras of Cap he was drawing upon for inspiration. So next up is Daredevil number 30, written by Chip Zdarsky with pencils by Marco Cacchetto and Mike Hawthorne, with inks by Marco Cacchetto and Adriano Di Benedetto, colors by Marcio Meniz, and letters by VC's Clayton Cowles. So we come right out of the events of last issue with Daredevil still in jail, but now in a hospital ward or hospital because he, was the victim of an attack by the corrupt owner of arranged by the corrupt owner of the private prison that he's in. We also have the progression of Elektra and her Daredevil identity. She seems to have taken on an apprentice of sorts. She also doesn't have any problems revealing her identity to the denizens of Hell's Kitchen as a way of possibly instilling fear in the ne'er-do-wells of Hell's Kitchen. Believe it or not, there is another child of one Wilson Fisk running around in the pages of Daredevil. So I'm not going to spoil the whole thing. I think it's worth picking up and catching up on Zdarsky's Daredevil run. If there's anything that Zdarsky is really tapping into, it is the stubborn nature of Matt Murdock. He is stubborn and Catholic almost to a fault. So I will leave you to figure out what I mean by that, but I definitely think this run on Daredevil is worth reading. Next up is Way of X #2. It's written by Cy Spurrier with art by Bob Quinn, colors by Java Tatalia, and letters by VC's Clayton Cowles. Lots of Italian names. I think of Tatalia and I think of the Godfather movies. You can't, he's the drug guy, it wasn't, he was the guy that was, that Barzini was using. Oh no, that's the 2 Godfather references in tonight's show. Look at that. So, anyway, in this issue, and the reason why I'm picking this issue up, folks, this book up, because I was curious to see how this book would play into the idea of Nightcrawler possibly forming a mutant religion. We're not going down that road exactly. It's a little different from what I thought it would be, but it is definitely messing with some of the notions that some of the faith ideals that Kurt Wagner has, as a priest in the Catholic tradition, and obviously central to that is are the rebirth protocols on Krakoa, and that does play a role here. Life and death and the mutant resurrections that happen here definitely mess with Kurt Wagner, but in a way, it's playing out differently than what I thought. I'm willing to give this another issue, maybe 2, because I know that next up is the Hellfire Gala crossover. So I may give it 2 more issues, but I don't know if I'm so keen on the direction they're going.
So apparently there are shades of other X book stuff in that's going on, because I'm kind of just skimming this right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that is particularly of interest is the one on the second, the not the second page, but like the 3rd or 4th page with what's his face, Cortez.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know where they're going from that, but you do, and yeah, that's just kind of weird that it just happens to take this jump.
Yeah, it's just a bar scene.
Right.
It's just, I guess it, like you said, it's a little bit of interconnectivity with Sword.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but anyway.
All right, next up is Wolverine number 12. It's written by Benjamin Percy with pencils by Scott Eaton, inks by J.P. Mayer and Oren Jr., colors by Matthew Wilson, and letters by VC's Corey Pettit. So we continue to follow up on this Vampire Nation / Dracula storyline that Wolverine is dealing with, and X-Force is also dealing with. And Omega Red proves to be useful in this issue, and the mutants strike back at the Vampire Nation in this issue, but the battle is not yet over, and there is an appearance by, and it's a logical appearance by characters who were last seen in Ten of Swords. So that is proven interesting. I actually read a couple more books. I will just talk about them very quickly. Didn't have a chance to type them. It's been a busy night, folks. Runaways number 36, written by Rowell, with art by Andre Genollet, color art by D. Cuniff, letters by VC's Joe Caramagna. So there is some time travel shenanigans. There are some time travel shenanigans by one Gert, and there is basically a whole lot of teenage angst and romance stuff going on here, revolving around Gert and her time travel. So this is always going to be fun, but definitely not your typical superhero fare. And last but not least is the Mighty Valkyries number 2.
Is that who that's supposed to be on the cover? Gert?
Yes. On Runaways number 36?
Yeah.
Yes, that is Gert.
Interesting. Continue.
Looking fabulous and older. And that is the key.
Yeah. Like, I was wondering who that was because I don't keep up with the book. So I'm like, okay, now that makes more sense. I'm like, who is this strange person on the cover of this book?
Well, I mean, she's recognizably Gert.
I guess so.
But older.
Right.
And that's part of the story.
I guess so. Yeah. Okay.
Next up is the Mighty Valkyries number 2 again. There are 2 stories here. The Jane story is written by Jason Aaron and Torunn Grumbeck, with art by Mattia De Iulis, letters by VC's Joe Sabino. The Runa story, that is the name of the analog for Tessa Thompson's Valkyrie character from Thor Ragnarok. It's written by Torunn Grumbeck with art by Erica D'Urso and colors by Marcio Meniz. So in these 2 stories, which play out in 2 halves of the book, the first half deals with a mystery that deepens with I guess an explanation of the mystery that started in the last issue, the first issue of this miniseries, involving Jane Foster's Valkyrie and a long lost character who is still a mystery. And some of the mystery is revealed here, but it's definitely still a mystery. And the Runa story picks up right where we left off from the last issue, and carries forward an intergalactic story, that deals with looking for someone who is a seer. So that is the gist of her half of the story. So things are going to probably come together and intertwine in the next issue.
And no Beastie Boys.
Yeah, right. And that is it for me.
I totally forgot that Star Wars Bounty Hunters number 12 came out this week, and the only reason why I'm mentioning it this time before we go into Clicks of the Week is that because it is also a prelude to War of the Bounty Hunters, which is the Star Wars line-wide book. So yeah, I guess this is another wrinkle to that whole situation. But anyway, Clicks of the Week.
Clicks of the Week.
We have one potentially hyperbolic clip from one of our absent hosts, and that would be the Flash 776 or 77. Excuse me. Wait, is that right? Hold on. Is it 776 or 770? Hold on.
You're checking comic list?
No, I'm just checking what we got. 770. Okay, I had it.
Okay.
So yeah, the Flash 770 from Dirt, who says that I saw this and I wanted to check it out. So apparently Wally West is doing the quantum leap. Because he says in his notes, Wally West gets stuck in the body of Jay Garrick in WW2, World War II, and gets to be there as the Flash punches Hitler. Also, the cliffhanger page at the end is one of the best in comics ever, as he says. I'm like, okay.
Hey, that's enough to make us check it out, right?
I mean, I was gonna check it out before that, honestly, because like I said, because I was looking at Comixology and I saw that. I was like, okay, so they got him quantum leaping now, basically. So yeah, I'll check that out, I guess. Because I was actually kind of curious as to how he got back into the book in the first place. I know that happened a couple of issues ago. That Wally West had come back in, as the Flash, and whatever happened to Barry. So that kind of stuff, kind of curiosity. We don't have one from Tim. So do you have yours?
I am between two books, as I mentioned earlier. Basically between Champions number 7 and Shang-Chi number 1, but I think I'm going to lean towards Shang-Chi number 1 because it reminded me of The Way of the Spider, and shocked me that it was from 2011, 10 whole years ago. Holy cow.
10 actual whole years ago. Yep. Which I kind of wonder again whether that was intentional or not, or whether it just so happens to coincide. I mean, obviously this whole book is up because of because of the movie that's shortly coming out. So
right.
But still. For myself, yeah, I don't know. There definitely is a cross between Shang-Chi, Champions. Actually, maybe Wonder Girl, but yeah, that one's probably a loose third. You know what? I'm actually gonna go with Shang-Chi. It was a pretty good start, even though, like I said, it does the cover is misleading, but still, I am very curious as to what's about to happen, or what's going to happen in this book going forward, and hopefully it has some time to do what it wants to do, because let's face it, we know this book is coming up because of the movie. Like, hopefully the movie does well also, but hopefully, like I said, just kind of gets people into reading. Shang-Chi is a pretty interesting character, despite being, born of a stereotypes.
Right, and they're doing the character a service by redoing his supporting cast.
Right.
We are not dealing with very many of the old tropes. We have something, we've mentioned it before with the advent of the Five Weapon Society in the previous miniseries that led into this ongoing. We see a lot of the similar beats that were in Brubaker and Fraction's Iron Fist when they did a refresh on Iron Fist supporting cast and allowed the character to have a much richer cast of characters to draw upon, and who have played varying roles in the greater Marvel universe since. So that is the hope with the advent of these new characters in Shang-Chi. So.
Right. Well, that being said, we can go on to the news section, but first, an ad read.
Our first ad read of the night is for Funko, Fun at First Sight. It's your home for exclusive collectibles such as their world-famous pop vinyl bobbleheads. apparel, including t-shirts, hats, and socks, and brand merchandise such as their custom DIY pop figures, art books, and skateboards. And now the listeners of the Comic Book Chronicles can enjoy 10% off your entire purchase when shopping at Funko. To place your first order with 10% off and to help keep our show free for you, go to our network website at cspn.us. That's cspn.us. Then click on the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down to the Funko link and place your order. When you get to the checkout, put in the offer code SHOP10 for your 10% off discount. Funko through cspn.us. Do it today. And now we get into the news. I'm not sure why the Wheel of Comic Book reviews this thing.
Because it's fun. Cinematic news, folks. And bloop, there we go. First off, WandaVision's hit song, It Was Agatha All Along, almost had a different name. And I know it was like kind of off on a piece, but that's fine. It almost wasn't Agatha All Along. The cast and creators behind Marvel Studios' original series WandaVision react to the viral hit performed by Agatha Harkness actress Catherine Hahn. That became a top-selling track and explains how the catchy song from Frozen duo Christian Anderson Lopez and Robert Lopez almost had a different name. When Agnes Hahn, nosy neighbor to Wanda, we already know how that comes up. If you watch WandaVision, you already know how it happened, or at least how it happened for that part. Matt Shakman brought them on. Like of the millions of things that Matt did, like his stroke of genius, bringing Bobby and Christian into the mix, I can't imagine it being any different. WandaVision head writer Jacques Schaefer told EW's The Awardist, I remember getting the 80s one in episode 5. I remember being together and being like, holy wow. And this is basically talking about the memory that got them into that song being into existence. So yeah, if you want to check that out, you can look at the show notes, which should be attached to the article, to the show. Next up,
guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Ms. Marvel has wrapped production for Disney Plus. It has concluded filming. The series wrapped up production in Thailand, where at least 3 episodes were shot. Holy cow. Ms. Marvel has been filming since last November, so it's likely the 6-episode series will have lengthy episodes like The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The series is set to debut Ms. Marvel, played by newcomer Iman Vellani, into the Marvel Cinematic Universe as the young hero learns how to use her strange abilities. Okay.
Yay. Can't wait for that.
What on earth are they doing in Thailand? Jersey City's right here. But I'm just saying.
I don't know. Maybe it's going to be a stand-in for something else. Maybe she's going to Madripoor for some reason. I don't know.
I don't know.
We will find out whenever that thing drops. Marvel hires 2 directors to take on its Secret Invasion series. You would think they would have had that by now. By the way, RIP to Charles Grodin. Marvel has hired Thomas Bezucha, who helmed last year's crime thriller Let Him Go, and Ali Salim, which, by the way, is Miles spelled backwards. We won't go into the whole Miles Morales Clone Saga thing, but right now. But anyway, who worked on Hulu's 9/11 drama The Looming Tower. The Secret Invasion series centers on Fury and Talos. You already know. Nick Fury and Talos from Captain Marvel and other parts of the MCU at large. And the faction of shape-shifting Skrulls who have been infiltrating Earth for years. Of course, Samuel Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn will be back, who's not apparently playing the bad guy as far as we know in this one. The jury's still out on that, but And a bunch of new people, including some other folks that we know. And that comes from us from the Hollywood Reporter. Next up.
All righty, forgive me, folks. I was just checking on the basketball scores. Sport ball, as Roddykat likes to say.
Yes.
Marvel's What If Disney Plus show has gotten an updated release time frame. So, according to Entertainment Weekly, the show is going to release on Disney Plus sometime in August. This will give Marvel fans something to check out during the summer months. As we've discussed before, the animated anthology will reimagine tons of events from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The main character in the series will be Uatu the Watcher, who Jeffrey Wright will voice. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Next up.
Very cool. Which still weirdly, you kind of wonder if it's going to tie into that Loki stuff, which I very much doubt it will, because based on what we are now knowing about that. But we'll get into that in a second. Snake, I'm going to take both of these, actually. I'm going to take the next two.
That's
since
fine.
they're related. Snake Eyes motion poster released and trailer announced. But guess what? That trailer is not only announced, but it is out. So yeah, there is a motion poster that came out from Paramount Pictures' Twitter account apparently. And also saying that hey, the premiere of the Snake Eyes movie trailer was going to be on the MTV Music Awards, the MTV Awards on the 16th, which that has happened, and now we have the first Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins trailer. Which every time I hear that, it just reminds me of X-Men Origins Wolverine. And it doesn't give me good vibes. Though the trailer doesn't seem bad, so go figure. Did you watch it?
I did.
What'd you think?
It's okay.
I mean, and I know I saw another video about, so not to spoil it, but apparently something that Snake Eyes doesn't normally do is being done here, but it's an origin story, so it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But there was also another behind the scenes video discussing that, because I'm pretty sure there was going to be saying, well, Snake Eyes doesn't, I'm like, yes, you're right, but it's an origin story, so I guess you got to get it from here to there some kind of way. Yeah. Next up, though.
Next up, John Boyega set to reunite with Joe Cornish for Attack the Block 2.
Yay.
A full decade after Attack the Block achieved sci-fi cult status and launched the career of its star John Boyega, Studio Canal, Film 4, Complete Fiction Pictures, and Upper Room Productions are moving forward with Attack the Block 2, with Boyega locked to return as the character Moses. In the original, Moses mobilized his mates against a group of nasty extraterrestrials looking to take over their neighborhood. Joe Cornish is writing and directing the sequel, and he will produce with Boyega, Nira Park, and James Wilson. The four teamed to make the original film. The plot of the sequel remains under wraps. Okay.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to get Jodie Whittaker back for this also, because she was also in it. And for those who know your Doctor Who lore, yes, that is the current Doctor, as far as I know. Or as far as I know, she's still a Doctor. I don't know. So it was kind of funny the couple of people that was in this movie, because there was a dude that's who plays he was on Arrow. I don't know if he's still there or not, but was also in this was also a movie. Taking It Back is actually a pretty good movie. I don't know if you've seen it.
I have not.
Yeah, it's actually not a bad movie for the time and the budget. So it's pretty good. You should definitely get a chance to check it out if you get a chance to. But next up, speaking of the Arrowverse, I guess the Arrowverse brings back Diggle, but not in the way you'd think. When we last saw John Diggle, David Ramsey, he had regained his family and come across a mighty mysterious, but all mighty familiar box with some sort of glowing green object inside. As this article postulates, it was probably a Green Lantern ring, and that's been a tease throughout the whole Arrowverse. But apparently, we've known Diggle would be returning to take a tour of the CW's other TV shows. But now there are two big twists. Speaking with refreshing openness with TV Line, Ramsey talked a great deal about his Arrowverse return, which includes starring in and directing episodes of Legends of Tomorrow and Supergirl, appearing in Batwoman and The Flash, and directing an episode of Lois and I was about to say Lois and Clark, goodness, Superman and Lois. He'll also guest star in a later episode, just not the one he's directing. Most fans have assumed that the glowing green item was a Green Lantern ring, which was all but confirmed, except no one would say the phrase Green Lantern, and would be explored in the least grounded of the Arrowverse shows, which I guess that would be Legends, because that's definitely true about that show. But Legends is such a good show. Anyway, which has gone extra galactic this season after Sarah Lance accidentally freed a bunch of aliens and sent them hurtling through this time screen. So it's basically 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, but in the Arrowverse. Those of you of a certain vintage should be able to catch that one. If you don't, I don't know what's wrong with you. So, but anyway, apparently that's very much not the case according to Ramsey. He'll be playing a character in the Wild West and sporting a truly magnificent mustache while doing so. It is not known whether this is an ancestor of Diggle, but given this is Legends, I would be very surprised if he wasn't. This is the article's writer talking. But when modern John returns on screen, he won't be a Green Lantern because it turns out he turned down the gig. So it says here, spoiler alert, I guess, for that last crossover. He got his wife back, who was abducted by the Monitor. He got back his daughter, Sarah, who was originally his son, but we're not going to talk about that. Who was taken out of existence by Flashpoint. Oh, wait, no. It was his daughter, and yes, right. It was his daughter first, and then it was, I don't know, the Arrowverse shit was weird. So regardless, he's not going to be Green Lantern, and that's a bummer. Moving right along.
I confess I know nothing or very little of the Arrowverse stuff.
I knew of it. I did not know this because I know Arrows is going off the air, and I'm still like a couple of seasons behind from, I don't know, before, like, I guess whatever the crisis was. No, I think the whoever was getting married, the ones I think it was Barry and Iris, and I think that was like ended up being part of a crisis.
Okay.
But yeah. Anyway, moving right along.
Next, let me make sure I don't skip a story here. Okay, so actor Jeremy Irvine is in talks to join the Green Lantern HBO Max series as the gay hero Alan Scott. The character is going to be one of many Lanterns featured in the series. So we know that the revelation of Alan Scott being gay is relatively recent. About the actor, though, Irvine made his feature debut in 2011. Again, there's that year, 2011, 10 years ago, starring in Steven Spielberg's adaptation of Warhorse. The English actor played a young Pierce Brosnan in Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, which is another reason why I don't know who this is, and appeared in dramas The Professor and The Madman and The Last Full Measure. Most recently, Irvine starred in the Jason Bourne-inspired spy series Treadstone, and this all leads to one of our favorite sound effects. Here we go, Korath.
Ooh.
Thank you.
So, I thought Alan Scott's coming out was not, well, I mean, I guess relatively new, meaning like the last, 10, 15, 20 years maybe?
No, within the last 2 years or 3 years.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought he's been out way longer than that.
No.
Okay. I'm gonna
relatively recent. That's my understanding.
Sure. I'll take your word for it, because like I said, I could have sworn it's been a while. So that's why when I saw that in an article, I'm like, okay, if you say so. I mean, honestly, my DC knowledge, much less the Lantern Corps, not great. But
no, the reason why I think it's super recent is I think they had him come out when they restarted the multiverse, which is right after Dark Knight's Death Metal. So that's within the last 2-3 years. Okay. To the Googles, Roddykat goes. You can hear it happening now.
Yeah, I pretty much am, but I don't know if it's gonna wait. I'm not sure the comic Okay, this is more about the show and not about Adam Scott. So what are we doing? He had a boyfriend who was openly gay in the Earth 2 series back in 2012. Back in 1940. Maybe that's what I'm thinking about. Maybe it was that Earth 2 series. But regardless, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna keep pushing because wait, here we go. Let's see. No, because this is pointing to that Infinite Frontier, and I know he's been out since before then, so that's dumb. You know what? We're gonna push on.
I was about to say, you got me. That's what I remember is the Infinite Frontier stuff.
Yeah, no, he'd been out well before now. In fact, especially because it was that Injustice book that he was out in, but again, he was already out well before then. That's why I was like, he's been out for years now. What are you even talking about? Regardless, that is a matter. That's less of a matter that I'm pretty sure we'll find out more about come June. Next up, is that me? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
New Batman animated series from Bruce Timm, J.J. Abrams, and Matt Reeves announced. Matt Reeves. DC's Dark Knight is officially headed back to the world of animated television. Warner Brothers is giving the straight-to-series order to Batman, Caped Crusader, a new animated series that is set to debut on both HBO Max and Cartoon Network. Caped Crusader is expected to bring all the boys to the yard. That's not what it says, actually. Caped Crusader is expected to bring an all-new reimagining of the Batman mythos with the help of 3 powerhouse executive producers. The ones I just named. The news was announced during Wednesday's Warner Media Upfront presentation, which, I forgot, there's probably going to be more news coming out of that. Including what the hell are Warner Media doing in the future, if you're so interested in it. I don't know if it's going to be as in depth as that Disney Investors Day thing, but here we go. Anyway, let's see. Tom Ashim and Sam Register breaks the news of this animated series, and you can check out the key art for the series below. So you can, they're taking a little bit of they're taking a little bit from Batman animated series here, but also going back to the 40s. Looks like with this art, or at least if this portrait is to be believed, it's kind of taking some inspiration from that. I guess we'll see. But the better news is the one that's coming up next.
That's debatable. So DC has revealed its next direct-to-video animated movie, and it's apparently a big one. Hyperbole, anybody? The wildly popular fighting game Injustice Gods Among Us is getting a movie adaptation. So strangely enough, neither DC nor Warner Brothers Animation made a formal announcement of the new project. Instead, its existence was revealed via a press release for Batman The Long Halloween Part 2. So among the bonus features included on that particular Blu-ray set will be a trailer for an Injustice movie. Gotta love it.
So here's why
at this time, no other details are known about the Injustice movie. Though with the Long Halloween Part 2 scheduled for a July 2021 release, it seems likely we'll see the Injustice drop before the end of the year. Go ahead.
So here's why this is not hyperbole, because Injustice, yes, I know Agent 70 does not play video games, or specifically this particular one, but the story behind that one is, well, look, we've got a couple of years of Injustice comic books out of this, because it was not a comic book first, it was a video game first, and then the comics kind of came after that or around the same time. That being said, Batman Superman would have made a goddamn good Injustice movie. It was all the way going there, even with some of the stuff that Justice League's Snyder Cut, which yes, I'm sorry for bringing that name back up, but nevertheless, even with some of the stuff the Snyder Cut put back out there, it would have been a great Injustice live action movie if they hadn't fumbled the ball. I can pretty much guarantee it, because you was gonna get a Batman Superman fight. It was just gonna be more of a Civil War type situation, and and unfortunately, spoiler alert, somebody was gonna have to die before it did happen, and they kind of teased that in the Snyder Cut. Nevertheless, like I said, they were almost going there. They just didn't. But now I guess we're getting an animated movie, which that's the weird part about this, because like all you have to do is pretty much look at all the cutscenes in Injustice and Injustice 2. And you can pretty much get the whole story in short strokes. If you haven't played Injustice, Gods Among Us, and you enjoy fighting games, you might enjoy that one. It's done by the good people that do Mortal Kombat, but it's a slightly different feel. So anyway, that's that. I'm kind of looking forward to this, but I need to see more of how it's going to actually look. And apparently they're pretty much burying it with this long Halloween part 2 thing, which I wish they would stop doing that. Like, it's not that serious for them to be breaking up these Batman stories like this. But I guess, whatever. Like, yeah, they did that with Superman 2, with Death of Superman, but at least that one, you understand why, kind of. It's a cash grab. Regardless, next up. John, so guess what, folks? The man who is now playing Lex Luthor on Supergirl, who for some of us folks know him as Ducky, if you're of a certain vintage. Also, John Cryer, known for such roles as the aforementioned ones that I just mentioned, says he once received a test offer to play the character of Gaius Baltar on Battlestar Galactica. And that would be the reboot one and not the 1978 one, because I think he'd be a kid at that time. But yes, so the reboot. So basically, he says that yeah, let's see, we already know about this. Let's see. Eva Carradine, known for her role as Janet Stein on Marvel's Runaways, recently made a post to Twitter asking actors, "What is a show or a movie you came extremely close to getting that no one would ever believe?" And then this person said they tested for Will and Grace, as Grace for Will and Grace. And then John Cryer quote tweeted the post, writing, "In order to do my final network test for 2.5 Men, I had to turn down a test offer to play Gaius Baltar in Battlestar Galactica." Did he make a good choice in that? We don't know, but the dude that played Baltar was pretty damn good. So hey, it worked out for somebody. It worked out for both of them, I guess. He also says here in this tweet, "For the record, it worked out fine. I love doing 2.5 Men, and I think Battlestar Galactica is one of the best sci-fi shows ever on TV, and that James Callis is one of the reasons why." So there you go. John Cryer was almost Baltar, and that's kind of weird to think about. But he's not playing Lex Luthor, so it's working out some kind of way. Next up.
Next up, Fast and Furious news. Tokyo Drift star Lucas Black opens up about his return to Fast 9. So, it was revealed in the first trailer, in the trailers for Fast 9, the newest installment in the Fast and Furious franchise, that characters from the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift would be returning, one of those being Lucas Black's Sean Boswell. So Sean Boswell spoke with Entertainment Weekly about what it was like to finally make his way in full back to the Fast saga. Remember, he had a cameo in Fast 7, which is to help connect the dots with Han, and he was willing to do that, but now he's back in full in Fast 9, and he actually was a guest on the Binge podcast, the EW Binge podcast, and which I listen to because they're focusing on the Fast and Furious movies. So they've already had Vin Diesel and Ludacris on, and Sean Boswell was the third guest. So they are slowly making their way through the movies and getting top name guest star guest appearances on these podcasts. So if
But
you are a fan of these movies, you can check that out, or you could check out some of the coverage in Entertainment Weekly.
but also the stars of Fast and Furious. Stop. That's not nice. BB Newworth is wrestler Andrea the Giant in stop motion drama Ultra City Smiths. So Broadway, so fans got a sneak peek at the character voiced by Broadway star BB Newworth, aka Lilith Stern and Crane from Frasier. Get your straight. In the upcoming stop motion animated series Ultra City Smiths. A photo shared by Entertainment Weekly shows a luchadora wrestler by the name of Space Bitch flying towards the air towards Newworth's character, Lady Andrea the Giant, who is lying on the ground inside the ring. And you can see that said picture right here if you're watching the video. So, hey, shout out to Lilith, I guess. And that is it for the cinematic news. We're going to transition over to the comic book news with Alex Segura leaving Archie to join Oni Lionforge. So yes, Alex Segura, previously co-president of Archie Comics, has been named Senior VP of Sales and Marketing at the Oni Lionforge Publishing Group. Feels like a weird step down, but okay. An independent comic book publishing house based in Portland. We all know what Oni Lionforge is if you're into comics know. And he will start on May 24th, which is coming soon. He will be responsible for Oni Lionforge publicity, marketing, and sales efforts across all of the company's operations channels. He says, quote, while it's been an amazing honor and privilege to call Riverdale my professional and creative home for over a decade, when Oni Lionforge approached me with this opportunity, I couldn't say no to this. I added that last part. Said Segura in a statement. Getting the chance to help amplify the ever-expanding, talented, and diverse voices at Oni is a great fit. If you don't know the name of Alex Segura, he's been on a lot of places in his time in comics, and I will not rattle them off. But he's been in DC twice, as well as his more known stint at Archie. So I guess congrats to them. Must be nice. Next up.
All right. So Star Wars announced that the Mandalorian's next mission is pinball. StarWars.com revealed that Stern Pinball's new line of pinball machines based on The Mandalorian, the Emmy Award-winning Disney Plus original series, are available in Pro, Premium, and Limited Edition models, all featuring original artwork on the cabinets and playfields, and are filled with references and physical props inspired by the series. So there's an actual adorable Grogu in there, as well as a custom sculpted Razor Crest. So Roddykat, I believe, is scrolling through the article, and you can see pictures of the pinball machine. There is information from the lead game artist in here, and I am looking for pricing. I presume this is going to be available for private buyers as well.
Yes. I kind of hate the way they're doing this, though. Like, I get it, but they're also doing this thing the same way video games are doing, in that, like, here's the base game, then here's this other version with some other little stuff in it, and then here's the really the version that you probably want with all the bells and whistles, actually, in this case, literally. But yeah, I don't think there is a
Yeah, I just scrolled through the whole thing. I do not see pricing.
$6,199 MSRP for the Pro.
Nice.
See, the premium is $7,799. And the limited edition. Oh, wait, and And the limited edition is probably 8,000. Nope, it is $9,199. Games configured for North America and operate on 60 cycle electricity only. So basically, this is a US only thing. It says these games will not operate in countries with 50 cycle electricity, including but not limited to Europe, UK, and Australia. So,
Screw you guys.
Yeah. But yeah, there you go. It's a Mandalorian pinball team, and boy, do I miss arcades. But boy, that's a big price. I really wish I had like a split level or something that I could put some video games in there, because I totally would. But also probably be like 1 or 2 main machines hooked up to a cabinet. Who am I kidding? Because that's a lot of space, and if I ever had to move, no one wants to do that. Then things are heavy. Next up, though, Hot Toys unveils Tony Stark Iron Man Mark V. I know it's 5, but still, suit up figure. Let's see. Hot Toys announced his latest Tony Stark collectible figure equipped with the Mark V suit from Iron Man 2, so fans can create Stark's suit up moment to battle Whiplash. Distributed by Slideshow Collectibles, Hot Toys is the Tony Stark. Tony, I was about to say Tony Stank. Deluxe collectible figure presents the Avenger from Iron Man 2 at 6 scale. Modeled after, you know who it's modeled after. Doggone it. How much is this damn thing? Let's see. You can also see me flipping through pictures. Hot Toys, as we have said before, very detailed, very pricey. So you are going to be paying a good bit for this figure, which is, as you see me scrolling through here, like I said, very detailed. Stands at 12.2 inches tall and allows fans to break out the Stark suitcase whenever needed. That's great. I need a price. $405 and will be available for shipping between July and September 2022. But it is available for pre-order. So have at it, folks. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Let me see. No, that's right. That's right. Next up, Adult Cable gets reloaded with Al Ewing for The Last Annihilation. So this is going to be a Last Annihilation tie-in from Al Ewing. The fully grown and fully gruff Adult Cable will apparently be back on the menu in the Marvel Universe this August, starring in that one-shot titled Cable Reloaded, which ties into the upcoming Last Annihilation Cosmic crossover. So it's written by Al Ewing with art from Bob Quinn. Cable Reloaded puts the older Cable on a mission to steal a special weapon from an alien world. Okay. Another one? Okay, great. New Shang-Chi ongoing comic. We kind of already talked about this, so we probably don't have to actually mention this. But wait, we talked about it. We're going to skip this one. Next.
Go ahead.
Spider-Man writer admits Peter's worst romance was a mistake. I don't think I saw this, but
yeah, it's interesting. I did not see this tweet. This Twitter. This tweet by Dan Slott.
Yeah, neither did I. And I'm usually peeping stuff out. So it says here that just to kind of cut to it. Let's see. Yeah, since Cindy Moon's first appeared in Amazing Spider-Man 2014, co-created by Slott and Humberto Ramos. We know she would become Silk. Got all that part. Yeah, there was definitely, which I feel like we talked about this like last week or something. When we talked about Silk, or maybe even mentioned it. But I do remember reading their contours got a little physical at the beginning.
Right.
See, Silk and Spider-Man's content attraction and intimacy wasn't well received among its readers, even if Cindy Moon was, and eventually toned down and scrapped when other writers started writing the character. In a recent tweet, Dan Slott wrote that he was very proud to introduce Silk to the Marvel Universe, but admitted adding the quote-unquote complication that both Cindy and Peter were attracted to each other due to their biological wiring was a bad idea and a mistake. And we can see the part one of the tweets, of the 3 tweets here. which basically says, "I'm proud to have co-created Silk with Humberto. Yes, I do believe adding the complication that both ends with mutual." I was saying, like I said, he also says that I'm very glad that Nick Lowe and Robbie Thompson decided to lose that, and again, that was a part of one of the tweets. He said Slott would elaborate on the tweet, saying that the mistakes were all on his part and not to blame Ramos or any other creators or artists. He said he listened to the reactions from readers, most notably Asian readers, and said that he unintentionally played into racial stereotypes with the Silk. He called his story-making decisions ignorant and said that if he could go back in time and change the storyline, he would. Slott added Robbie Thompson and Nick Lowe would thankfully get rid of the problematic elements when they took over the character for her first ongoing series. So, yeah, that was a big thing to admit to. You know, Slott's usually straight up dude, or from accounts, I guess. You know.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So, the scene that this happening, kind of mea culpa, was pretty good. Like I said, I didn't see the tweet at all, but the fact that this happened was interesting. Oh, he also says here, no, okay, no mind, I said what he said already, but he does give an apology in this tweet about
right. It's a follow-up tweet.
Yes,
it's like a two-parter.
Yes, actually, well, it was more than that. Yeah, because it was the first three-parter to saying it in the first place, and then he came back with the other two-parter. Which I guess somebody kind of asked him about it. So yeah. So yeah, there you go. Next up.
So next up, Kang the Conqueror is going to get a definitive origin story and his own title this August. So this came out as part of the August Marvel Solicits, which just came out, I believe, today officially, but this story is from 6 days ago.
Yeah, because stuff starts getting cobbled together.
Right. So this August, it's time to tell the definitive origin story of one of Marvel's greatest villains, Kang the Conqueror, as stated by the announcement. So this is looking through this. Here we go. So it's 5 issues from Star Trek Year 5 writers Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly. Aren't they former guests of the show?
That is correct.
Who will make their Marvel Comics debut working with artist Carlos Magno. Look at that.
Yeah, I saw this and I was like, Kang's history is a little convoluted.
Yes, a little convoluted is probably a big understatement.
Yes, I'm just saying, yes. So I can only imagine how they're going to do that, and I wonder if they're going to get rid of the one tie that we know of. I doubt it, but
we'll see.
I'm kind of curious as to what they're going to do with that, because spoiler alert.
See, I actually. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say spoiler alert. King's of Richards, as in Reed.
Right, or Nathaniel,
or Nathaniel in this case, but he's related to Reed. So what I'm saying,
exactly. Supposedly a descendant. That was the story that we've understood to be the case so far. As soon as I saw this, I was like, you know what, it might be a book to add to my pull list, because it'd be nice to know what on earth was confusing me. To kind of unwrap some of the confusing things that we've all read, or I've read, about Kang the Conqueror from my first exposure to the character, which I want to say was probably the first Secret Wars.
Yeah, and also has been kind of curious as to the fact that he's been popping up here and there. Sometimes as like a first villain arc, which that's kind of bad, but but he's also, shown up in other weird sideways, like that Dr. Doom book, for instance. Like he was kind of just popped up there for whatever odd reason. And I was thinking, well, they're gonna talk about what this is, and they may have said something there, but nothing that was like concrete.
Right.
But yeah, so hopefully maybe they'll get into some of that with this.
Right, and it's also obviously timed timed out ahead of the character's MCU debut in Quantum Mania.
Correct. So I'm wondering if he's going to be Richards there. Because then you know what people are going to be like, why don't we have Fantastic Four then? Or why wasn't this done there? Or blah, 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 yakety schmackety.
It was Agatha all along.
Bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-da. Okay,
Exactly.
next up. Marvel's Winter Guard hunting White Widow and the Red Guardian after the Black Widow film. So White Widow and Red Guardian pretty much going to have another book after the movie drops, which they had a one shot before, and one or both of them have shown up in Black Widow's book. It's actually is a 4-issue series titled The Winter Guard. So no, they aren't rejoining the Russian superhero team. They're being hunted by them. So after, as first reported by Sci-Fi Wire, Winter Guard writer Ryan Cady and artist Jan Bazaldua, will find the White Widow White Widow and Red Guardian on the run from the Winter Guard, whoever appeared recently in Jason Aaron's Avengers run. Fans of the Black Widow movie should find our Yelena Belova and Red Guardian pretty familiar, though, in this cat and mouse series. Because the last time I saw them, I'll just go ahead and say and just cut this short, is that there was a one shot with both of them that was obviously setting them up, not necessarily setting them for the movie, but kind of putting it out there that hey, these people are also going to be in said movie, but not having to do with said movie. So I'm going to assume whatever this other miniseries is pretty much came out of that, because Yelena went in and broke out the Red Guardian, and he went about his own thing, and they pretty much set it up with some sort of intention of coming back to it. It seemed like to me at the time, anyway. So I'm guessing this is it. If not, oh well. Next
up. So, Black Panther, the title, is returning with John Ridley and Juann Cabal at the helm. So the writer of 12 Years a Slave. What the hell's wrong with you, Chris Arant of Newsarama? Editing, people, editing.
There you go. It's not just me, folks.
What the hell, yo?
It's not just
12
me.
Days a Slave? Oh, jeez.
But he's got it right in the article.
Oh, gosh.
So that's funny.
Tackles Black Panther and the iconic Wakandan nation. So as reported by the New York Times, I didn't see this in the Times, but I haven't actually flipped through it in a couple of days. Ridley and Cabal plan to tell a hybrid espionage superhero thriller that's also a love story. First of all, Black Panther is just a great character in and of himself, Ridley tells the Times. But being a young black kid growing up, every time you saw a hero that looked like you, even if their background didn't reflect his lived experience, it was just something that made you feel closer to the wish fulfillment that is intrinsic in graphic novel writing. Not spoiling the story, even though it's in the article.
Well, I mean, there very well you could say that next sentence.
All right, but no, I wanted to get to the whatchamacallit. So it goes on sale this August as part of the August solicitations. Right. Make sure to add it to your pull list, folks.
I don't know how to feel about this. Yes, I would like to see another Black Panther book. Great. The Coast's run was, started off a little slow, but it picked up and it was pretty good. John Ridley is also writing that next Batman book that I spoke about earlier, and it's not bad. I'm just not. I don't know.
I'll give it a try.
I definitely am going to give it a try. That goes without saying, but still not sure how I feel about it. So you will find out when this book comes out in August. Next up. I mean, and the art's gonna be great because Juann Cabal, good shit. But still, not sure how I feel about this. Next up, though, let's see. Transformers King Grimlock revealed among new comic series. Get ready for more Transformers great comics. IDW has revealed their next slate of comics for late in the summer, which will be led by a brand new Transformers King Grimlock miniseries that brings together Transformers and the world of swords and magic. Because, Transformers and My Little Pony is not enough for them, I guess.
I was about to say, wasn't there an awful Knights of the Round Table connection in the movies?
I don't know. I've never watched them.
Okay. Not that I watched it. I just know. I think one of them was called Last Night or something like that.
There was a night. Yes, there was definitely a night in one of the titles of one of them.
Me, Grimlock, don't know.
But that Transformers book, I don't know if I want to call it a reboot, but it's definitely taken place before the stuff we know, and definitely has kind of rebooted some things. It's not bad, It gets a little, it had gotten a little Game of Thrones there for a hot second, I would dare say. Now, I don't know why I'm saying that as a person who has not really seen much Game of Thrones, but nevertheless. Anyway, IDW also revealed details on a new Transformers Shattered Glass miniseries, as well as plans for the monthly series Transformers and Transformers Beast Wars, both of which are still going strongly. So yeah, cool. I don't know if they're gonna start doing like as many books as they did yeah, in the initial, or not the initial, but the last volume, because they had a bunch of books that I still haven't finished reading. Like, it was a gang of junk. But nevertheless, hey, here you go. Got a Grimlock book for those Grimlock fans. Next up, which is good news, I like this news.
Me, Grimlock, doesn't know how to take this news. Star Trek The Mirror War is set to be a year-long comic book event. IDW has announced Scott and David Tipton's 13-part epic Star Trek The Mirror War. For decades, Jean-Luc Picard of Star Trek The Next Generation has represented an ideal of greatness. Beginning on Star Trek Day, September 8th, comic book and graphic novel publisher IDW invites readers to witness what the galaxy could be like at the mercy of a Captain Picard, whose greatness is measured not in intelligence, authority, and empathy, but in cunning and cruelty, courtesy of an all-new event, Star Trek The Mirror War. Okay.
So, this was inevitable. This had to have been inevitable. I'm kind of surprised they waited so long to do this, actually, because there were like at least it was a good premise. Like it was like, hey, Next Generation hadn't gone into the mirror universe, so they pretty much did that. And let's see, it was Next Generation, and I think there was something else that there was a couple of crossovers with. But regardless, there was a couple of miniseries that happened out of this. And it was, I think, when we last left off, when I remember last leaving off, Picard ended up getting the mirror version of the Enterprise. And in this mirror universe, the Federation was not necessarily what we know it to be in the Prime universe. Like, it was kind of barely holding on. To what it had. Like, we pretty much backed into the corner and didn't really have much. And of course, like I said, the mirror bearded whatever universe folks are a little more cutthroat than the Prime folks that we know and love. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the heck. Yeah, and there was definitely, like I said, I did mention the crossover. So yeah, I'm slightly intrigued. I'm actually not even slightly. I'm very intrigued about what this is going to do. I hope they do right by it, because it felt like they were kind of like, all right, they got some goodwill with the first one. Then it was like, well, here's these other couple of them that were kind of like, but they were kind of setting up something, I guess. But then it stopped with the last one that really didn't. That the only thing it did is it ended up with them getting an Enterprise, and no more incursions into the Prime universe. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see. Last but not least, Bitterroot number 14 celebrates Juneteenth with a special cover. And if you're watching the video, you can see said cover right there. The Eisner and Ringo award-winning series Bitterroot by Chuck Brown, David F. Walker, and Tamford Green will feature a special commemorative cover in celebration of Juneteenth. This Bitterroot number 14 cover will feature new art by Green and will be in stores this June. If you've not heard us talking about Bitterroot, it's about a family of, let's say, demon hunters back in Harlem Renaissance. Or not even the Renaissance, back in the days of, back in Harlem times, like the 20s, I believe. I'm not sure if that's around the time of the Harlem Renaissance or not, so my history is terrible. But regardless, it's a great book, I think. And of course we've already talked about the movie that is going to be done by that's going to be directed by Regina King, that is coming. So yeah, I would say check out this book if you have a chance. If not to get this covered, but just to check it out just in general, because it's good stuff. Which is the Juneteenth book will be, or the cover and the book will both be available on Wednesday, June 23rd, which is a week after Juneteenth. So there you go. And that, folks, is the end of the comic book news and also end of the show. But first, we have another ad read.
No, we have a little bit of Toy Corner.
Oh, I'm sorry. That is right. I forgot about that.
We have a little bit of Toy Corner. So, looking for, where did I stash this? Where did I stash? Oh my gosh. What's in the box? We haven't used it in a while.
That's true.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I would invite you to check out my Instagram posts from earlier today, which actually would have been Thursday, May 20th, because you get a preview of what I am about to talk about here. Firstly, I posted some pictures of some displays that I have up that are behind me on the shelf. I'm not going to take them down, but I'm going to describe what's in these Instagram posts. They are basically some recent acquisitions, some Marvel Legends acquisitions. Firstly, I picked up the Walgreens exclusive Danny Moonstar, which you can turn into Karma and Wolvesbane as well. So I was able to construct, after I picked up a Sunspot, I was able to construct the quintessential New Mutants lineup, and I have that on display as well as pictures up on Instagram. Next up, I was able to get the gray suited Black Widow, and I was finally able to put together an Uncanny X-Men 268 cover recreation with Captain America and Wolverine. But I do have stuff to show on camera. First is the Hellfire Club 4-figure set.
Ooh.
I am showing this incredible box, and former guest and friend of the show, William Bruce West, tweeted at me in response that he picked up 2 of these because he can't bring himself to open up this package. It is so cool. So this is a folding front cover for the box, and I'm going to open it up, and I'll move my mic a little bit further out of the way so that I don't hit it. But watch this flip open to reveal a portrait of the 4 characters in the Hellfire Club together, and individual portraits on the wings of the flaps. So you get the 4 together, and you get the 2, and you get 2 portraits and information on the wings of the flaps. I'm doing my best to avoid the glare for the folks at home. So this folds away. This group portrait folds. Can be pushed out of the way. There is what looks like an envelope. It doesn't have a full opening envelope, but it does have the hint of a Hellfire Club invitation inside. It's not something you can pull out, but it's there. And what's cool is that you get 4 characters, but in a sense 5, because you get 4 members of the Hellfire Club. You get Donald Pierce. You get the White Queen, Emma Frost. You get the Black King, Sebastian Shaw, and you get a version of the Black Queen. The head that's on the Black Queen is Jean Grey, but you also get an alternate head of Celine. So you do, in effect, get 5 characters here because you get an alternate head for the Black Queen character. So this is a pretty cool set.
Nice.
I have not taken it out of the packaging because it is so cool. I probably will, but I'm probably going to hold on to this packaging. It's one of those packages that just look really cool. Because it's a square, because it's a rectangle, it's a little easier to save. It reminded me of how cool the Thor San Diego Comic-Con set was, with Jane Foster Thor, Ulick, Bor, the father of Odin, and the unworthy Odinson.
I want to say the A-Force box was also kind of similar.
Kind of, but it definitely isn't. It definitely didn't have like this cool, like kind of cool theme.
Right.
But definitely worth picking up, folks. It is in stock now at Hasbro Pulse.
Well, I'm gonna say.
Yep, it is pretty cool. Be happy to set up a display of some Dark Phoenix stuff going forward. And last but not least, on my Instagram feed and my Twitter feed as well, is something that I know Roddykat joked with me about because he wasn't sure I was ever going to get it. And I finally decided to go with the flow and pick up an Attack on Titan figure. Now, I am a latecomer to Attack on Titan, the anime series. I have not read the manga yet, but as a latecomer to the series, I missed out on the initial run of the toys and action figures that were released in conjunction with the release of the anime, which has now reached season 4, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. I think season 5 is the one that's coming out next.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. So, as a result of being a latecomer, I missed out on a lot of the stuff that came out, with the release, or as the anime really started to pick up steam and popularity, more merch hit the shelves. So I missed out on a lot of that stuff. Didn't really see that stuff on eBay either. So what did I do? I searched on Amazon and found, it's a bootleg. So it is clearly a bootleg. If you go through my Instagram account, this is a bootleg of the Figma Mikasa Ackerman Figma figure, but it is essentially all there. It is still pretty cool. It has all its accessories, and you can pose it in a myriad number of ways. As all Figma figures are, it is fragile. It is not to be played with. It's kind of meant to be posed and set up for display. So I take full advantage of that and have Mikasa in an action pose as she is using her I forget what the acronym is. The OEM, I know it's not the OEM gear, but it's something like that.
Right.
So ultimately, I had a lot of fun putting this together. It did not come with instructions, but I was able to make do. A couple of things didn't necessarily fit together, so I used a little bit of poster putty to make sure they stuck in place. But I definitely had fun putting this together, and I like looking at it on my shelf. So this is the first of what will probably be a few anime-related figures to go on display.
He hasn't gone full weeb yet, but we're getting him. We may or may not get him there.
Not at all. I mean, look, I definitely have finished my Dragon Ball watch. my canon Dragon Ball watch. I did not touch GT with a 10-foot pole, but I have, believe it or not, gotten 2 episodes into Demon Slayer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I shoot, I haven't done that one yet.
Wow, I'm ahead of Roddykat on something.
So yeah, because that's only because I went to Jujutsu Kaisen before Demon Slayer, because I know a lot of people like Demon Slayer, but I'm like, let me finish up Jujutsu Kaisen first before I hit that one up. Also, apparently there's not going to be a season 5. It's only like season 4 part 2.
Oh yeah, part 2. Yeah, that's it. Part 2 of season 4. That's right.
Going to be next year. So yeah, so technically season 4 is going to be the last season.
Right. Now it's starting to come back now, because I remember everyone trying to figure out how they were going to end it in so few episodes.
Right.
So as you said, it was they're going to wrap it up over the second half of season 4. Okay.
Or there's going to be a movie that in like 10 years that is going to somehow explain some of the stuff that didn't get explained.
No, with the anime movies.
It happens, believe me.
I know. There's a Demon Slayer movie.
There is one that's out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's only that. But Demon Slayer has only been 1 season, so I think that story is supposed to be like in between the season and whatever's coming next.
All right.
I think from what I've heard. Like I still haven't watched the show fully yet, so I don't know. But it's from what I saw of it, that's what it seemed like. So. And people were chomping at the bit for that movie, going so far as to going to those kind of places, the less respectable places, with the low quality, the low quality bootlegs, let's say, that you can get for free. So, but I know that the movie is out, and I know people who have seen it. So, it is what it is. I'll get there when I get there. So yes, we're
that is it for me for Toy Corner.
Yeah, we are anxiously and excitedly charting Agent 70's anime watching journey. It's fun times.
Yeah, it's a mix of the new hotness and the foundational stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right, that case, you got a ad read.
Our last ad read of the night, because it is late and we are tired. Keep our podcast free by shopping at Amazon. Visit cspn.us, then click the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down and click on the Amazon link to shop. Purchase items from Amazon as you normally would, whether it's books, music, electronics, jewelry, apparel, bootleg Attack on Titan toys, or Marvel Legends. For every purchase made on Amazon through our link, Amazon sends the CSPN a payment that helps us keep the Comic Book Chronicles podcast free for our listeners at no extra cost to you. Amazon.com through CSPN.us. Do it today.
And you can also get masks and mask filters, because goodness knows we're still going to need those for the next 5 years. Probably. That being said,
get shots, folks. Get your shots.
Even with your shots, exactly. But still, just saying. So with that, folks, we come to the end of another episode of this here Comic Book Chronicles. I have been your host, Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter. You can find me at NewsNerdSneed on Twitter. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram. Honestly, you can pretty much find me anywhere at Roddykat. But hey. I guess the brand is strong, as the saying goes. Who even knows? You can find Agent_70 at Twitter. Excuse me, on Twitter and Instagram at Agent_70. Like I just said, if you heard me, you heard me. PC_Dirt on Twitter, Pop Culture Net on Twitter, popculturenetwork.com, and all those umbrella sites they're in. Maybe, possibly, also, I'm really going to stop saying this, but he might still be under Comic Reviews No Vowels. Because I don't know, and I really don't feel like asking, honestly. Who uses that stuff anymore? Everybody's got one of those things now. Heck, Twitter and Facebook's now got tweets and short videos.
He's probably on TikTok. He just hasn't admitted it to us.
Probably. That would be some funny mess. I would not be surprised by that either. But also the Tim DOGG98 on Twitter. Nope. The Click Nation on Twitter. That's VKLIQNATION. Also the CB Chron, which is the Twitter account for the Comic Book Chronicles. You can catch Tim there. You can also catch him on theclicknation.com. You can also catch him on, and this is, I can't stress this enough, Comic Book Resources. That's cbr.com, where he's over there writing his face off. Definitely go check out the man's work. We're proud of him, you know, even though we don't get to see him anymore, you know, that, for whatever other reason. I mean, he is also, you know, part parenting a child with the significant other, so there is that. So it's not just because of CBR. But nevertheless, go over there and get that man's some clicks and some reads and check his stuff out. You can find this here podcast on your podcast perusal place of choice, whether it be Google Play, Apple iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Cold Slither Podcast Network SoundCloud page. You could also find this here podcast on, I don't think I said it actually, I've reversed the order, cspn.us.
Do it today.
That's right, that is the Cold Slither Podcast Network, in case you didn't know. You can find this podcast recording every Thursday night, 9:30-ish p.m. on youtube.com/theclicknation or twitch.tv/Comic Book Chronicles, all one word. Shout out to the folks who came through the chat, whether you've been lurking or whatnot. What's up to my lady friend Cammy? How you doing? We will be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel, hopefully actually on time, with another episode, and we still got a couple of weeks before Loki starts.
Right. We'll be out ahead of the Memorial Day weekend, but you'll probably get our show via audio podcast over the course of Memorial Day weekend.
That is true, and I totally forgot that was coming up, so there you go. And with that, folks, this has been the Comic Book Chronicles. Peace.
Phase 1. And knowing is half the battle.
Nice.